title page. Oh, really? Well, I hope you realize what this means. All right. Sorry about it. Oh, really? Well, I hope you realize what this means. All right. Sorry about
Okay. So, Resident Evil. A little bit of history
Okay. So,
about Resident Evil. The game came out in... Hold up, make sure Twitch is actually displaying shit correctly. Yeah, still not, man. It's so annoying that it does this. Okay. I don't want someone to like be looking up a Destiny stream and find mine. That would suck. There we go. Okay. So Resident Evil, so game came out in 1996. It was based on a game called Alone in the Dark. It was first released on Sega Saturn, and then was ported to the PS1 later that year. So this version is the GameCube release that came out in 2001. They took all the graphics, redid them. They added new stuff to the game. They added a couple new mechanics, but overall, it's the same game. And Resident Evil started this survival horror craze. Everyone, by the time Resident Evil 2 hit in 1998, it was incredibly addictive. I mean, people were they just loved Resident Evil. It was everything in the 90s. And then in 2001, after Resident Evil 4 was being developed for the GameCube, they remade Resident Evil 1 on redone graphics and all that stuff. They added new content for it, yada yada yada, new endgame content, blah blah blah, and it sold incredibly well. It was one of the top selling
Resident Evil
games for GameCube. And then Resident Evil 0 came out, which is a prequel, and I'll be doing that like after 7. Not one of my favorites, but it's still good. It's just not as good. So this game started it all. This takes place in 1996. You can play as... Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this was the game that started everything for survival horror. So in Resident Evil, you can pick... So you can... In this version, you can use the new controls, which are better, in my opinion. But that's only if you want to use the analog stick. Or you can go back to the traditional controls. And a lot of references in other games. In Resident Evil 5 and 4 and Code Veronica. Like, all these games that constantly reference Resident Evil 1. There's like a ton of jokes in Revelations 2 about Resident Evil 1. So this teaches you about Wesker, it teaches you about Chris and Jill, it teaches you about Barry. The incredible story that they started back then was absolutely amazing. And I have literally played this game hundreds of times. I've beaten it hundreds of times. And every time I play this game, I still have fun. I still enjoy it. I still do it. And you can... If you're good and you're fast and you're efficient, you can beat this game in about 2.5 hours. But your average playthrough, it takes a lot of work. Like after you beat the game, so that's hard, that's normal, and that's easy. For the sake of the playthrough, I'll just do it on normal. You pick either playing Chris or Jill. They're both basically the same game. There's a few minor differences. Chris deals with him and Rebecca Chambers. Chris does not get the lockpick. It can use both, actually. If you use the analog stick, it'll use modern, but it still has like a static camera. It's not like Resident Evil 5 or Revelations where you have like the camera that's on their shoulder. This is like it's a still camera, but that adds to the game. It's hard to describe. A lot of people like to crap on it. So this version, you pick regular Jill from Resident Evil 1's costume, or you can pick her Resident Evil Revelations costume. Chris, the same thing. You can be old Chris, or you can be Resident Evil 5 and that Chris. I like the old Chris better than the new Chris personally, but so I'll do it with Jill. Jill deals with Barry when she's in the mansion. Chris deals with Rebecca. Those are the two major differences, but the end result is almost always the same. And it was like this was it. This is what started it. Games to come out like Silent Hill. What other horror games were big back then? Silent Hill and Resident Evil, really, but there's another one called Dino Crisis that was based on dinosaurs and stuff.
A helicopter of our compatriots, Bravo team, who disappeared during the middle of their mission.
Found it yet?
Bizarre murder.
I'm gonna mute my mic during the cutscene so you can hear it better.
There are outlandish reports of families being attacked by a group of about 10 people. Victims were apparently eaten. The Bravo team was sent in to investigate, but we lost contact.
Look, Chris.
Bravo team's helicopter was a derelict. Save for the remaining body of Kevin. We continued our search for the other members, and it turned into a nightmare.
This way.
Brad said, fuck this, I'm out. Fuck you guys. I ain't deal with this shit.
Damn it. Make for that mansion.
So there's something minor the first 3 games did that
There are only 3 STARS members.
I
left.
really miss.
Captain Wesker, Barry, and myself.
Well, this was the beginning of Wesker's like stuff, and so a lot of people didn't really understand him. Like,
What is this place?
the cool thing about this game was
Not quite your ordinary house.
you didn't really know what was happening to like the middle of the game. You're
where's
like, oh, what
Chris?
the fuck's going on? Like, none of this making any
Jill,
sense.
no.
And but the story is written so well. I mean, it's hard to describe it, but it's just like
What was that?
was amazing.
Chris?
And if you want to laugh, if you want to laugh, go on YouTube and search for the original opening for that scene.
And I go back a long way.
It is so fucking
All right.
different. They had different voice actors and stuff, and
This area. Stay sharp.
like there's so many jokes too that you'll see. Like there's Resident Evil jokes all over the place talking about like Barry gives Jill a lockpick, and in the original version he says like, Jill, here's a lockpick,
Dining.
you, the master of unlocking, can use it better than me. And in this version he just says that he's better. It's hilarious. Like the voice acting was like 80s horror movie bad.
I think you'd better take a look at this.
What is it?
And they're in the process right now, allegedly, of doing the same thing they did for this game for Resident Evil 2.
Find any other
But
clues.
I don't know. I think Gaglin's full of shit,
Let's just hope it's not Chris's.
which is dumb because they can make a fortune. They made this game made a shit ton of money. Okay, so you can see the camera angle is still, but it works. It works for this, like because you don't know what's in front of her. Like it adds to the suspense of it, and I kind of miss it being like this, like back in the day when it was like this. You know, it was like, and you can use the D-pad if you want to. You can make it like where it's tanky, but if you use the analog stick, you don't have to do much. You can just spin. And if you beat the game with Jill, you unlock her Resident Evil 3 costume. There's a lot of stuff that makes you want to play this game multiple times to do. Harder difficulty levels, modern, like things that change the game a little bit. A lot of fun. That's the infamous Resident Evil cinematic that everybody knows the game for, when the zombie turns around.
Barry!
What is it?
Look out! It's a monster!
Let me take care of it.
Everybody talks about that
What
that
the
scene.
hell
It
is
was their favorite Resident Evil scene ever.
Kenneth killed by this thing. Let's report this to Wesker.
I'm gonna take that because I need it later. This game is full of puzzles, full of them. Yeah, massive amounts of puzzles in this game. Oh no, where is Wesker?
Wesker! Jill, help me look for it. Let's not leave this hall.
Good idea.
Yeah. The puzzles are awesome. You go back upstairs, go downstairs, can't find Wesker.
Any luck, Jill?
No, nothing. What's going on around here? I can't figure it out.
Same here.
Chris and now Wesker.
There's not much we can do. We can search for him separately. I'll investigate the dining room again.
Okay then, I'll try the door on the other side.
This mansion is gigantic. We could easily get lost. Let's start from the first floor.
Okay.
Oh, I almost forgot. It's a lockpick. You'd make better use of it.
Thanks. I may need it.
Listen, if something happens, let's meet up in this hall. Got it?
Okay.
Whatever, Barry. You're dumb. And in my Code Veronica playthrough, there's that part where Chris and Wesker fight Alexia in that big room, and it's modeled after the mansion in this game. For this game they did, yeah. For this version. The original version had like the world's worst voice acting ever. That's a videotape, you can't look at it till later though. In the original they had like these actual actors that did the voices and shit. It was hilarious. So actually, no, I'm not gonna take any. I'm not gonna grab any herbs or any bullets or nothing, because you can evade most of the zombies. You really don't have to kill them. And in this game, another thing they added was like it. So if you kill a zombie, you have to set them on fire. If you do not set them on fire, then shit, which way do I go? This way, I think. Maybe this way. Yeah, this way. Okay. If you don't set them on fire, they'll reanimate and they'll be like super fast. They'll sprint across there and they can kill you in like 2 hits. Let me examine the arrowhead. Get that thing. Oh, come in. I think there's a zombie right around that corner. Nope. The big difference about this game, yeah. The big difference about this game is you can like bait the zombies to like lunge at you, and then once they lunge at you, they can't lunge again for like about like 30 like a second. So it's really easy. You just make them, you bait them, back up, and then run around them. I had to beat this game only using the knife, which is incredibly difficult. And to do that, I had to bait a lot of zombies. That was like easily the hardest achievement I've ever gotten in any game ever. So stay to the right so that you don't activate that zombie on the other side. This was a new area that wasn't in the original. This area doesn't exist in the original. Key on the back we need. And a book that explains this puzzle in this room. Oh, it's like one of the best games ever, honestly. It was one of the most beloved games of the series, of horror games in general. Like it's loved like everywhere. And fun fact about Resident Evil, in Japan, it is called Biohazard. And so Resident Evil 7 is called the official name of it is Biohazard Resident Evil, and the American name is Resident Evil Biohazard. So just a little tidbit of information there. I gotta get dog whistle. I'm trying to remember where I need to go to do that. I think over here. This door, maybe? Yeah. Honestly, Jill's game is easier because she gets a lockpick and she doesn't have to do a puzzle to get the shotgun. So she has a much easier time than Chris does. Alright, so we're gonna go over here. Yeah, I enjoy it. Resident Evil 7 was okay. About half of it, anyways. I enjoyed the first half a lot. The second half bored me to death. So I grabbed the dog whistle in here. Honestly, I don't know why I grabbed that stupid book thing, but I'm not going to need that. It just has a map. And then we got to go to the other side of the mansion with the dog whistle. And there are herbs out here you can heal yourself with if you need to. Yeah, I upload all the streams to YouTube. I'm so a bit rusty, man. No worries. But I will catch you later then. Have a good night. Yep. You guys stay safe. Alright, so make our way to this item box. We definitely don't need that. I didn't need to get the bolts out of there. Don't need sword key anymore. Don't need the knife either. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and save. All right. Excuse me. And I'm going to go ahead and cut the stream for tonight. And then tomorrow we'll pick up where I left off. And I will talk to you guys soon.